A tale of our time is something that captures the imagination and continues to influence the cultural consciousness far beyond its initial creation.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tales of Our Times. This is a show where we discuss the stories that move us, what makes them so interesting, and why others could or should find meaning in them as well. This is not a spoiler-free show, so bear that in mind as you continue to listen. We talk about books, movies, video games, and more. Where there's a story, there is a reason to read or play in today's case. I'm your host, Amanda Stevens, and joining me today is my friend, Milo Bowles. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So before we get started, is there anything that you would like to say to introduce yourself?
Well, Amanda already told you my name. I'm Milo Bowles. I'm 25 years old. I'm a teacher here in Taiwan, and I'm super happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you. So what story are we talking about today?
So I'd like to talk about Skyrim today.
And I'm excited because the way that it sounds, you are sort of like a Skyrim professional.
I wouldn't call myself a professional, but I'm a bit of a Skyrim nut.
This is a game. So for those out there, Skyrim is a video game that was released in
2011.
It's part of a long-standing series of games. But Skyrim has held on for a very long time and continued to be re-released. So if you're not into video games and you think you saw it recently released, you're probably right. It probably was re-released. It has had at least 3 different re-releases. As I'm thinking of them, I'm thinking of more. Now I think I know of like 5 different re-releases over the years because it is just so popular. So Milo, how many times have you played this game? Out of curiosity.
Dozens and dozens of times. I'm the kind of person who will just start a new save file as soon as I get a new idea for a character. So, I mean, going back since like 2011, 2012, I must have like maybe less than 100, but like probably 50 some characters.
Wow, that's very impressive. And so for other people maybe who don't play video games, can I ask you, would you be able to describe what kind of game Skyrim is as well?
Yeah, so Skyrim is an open world RPG game.
Open world means you can go anywhere at any time, even places you're maybe not supposed to be or not strong enough to be, but you can get there.
Oh, yes. It's kind of this long-standing tradition in the Skyrim community that people will try to get to the most inaccessible and bizarre places they can, just through either like glitches or exploits.
Yeah. And the genre of this game is high fantasy, kind of like medieval high fantasy. There's a lot of magic, though the amount of magic that you use as a player, I think, is up to your own choice. And your character you can kind of make your character be whoever they want, but they will end up playing through a similar storyline each time, which is what we're going to be discussing. Would you say that that's correct?
Absolutely.
So now I think it'll be a lot easier for us to talk about like what makes Skyrim so interesting, meaningful, the staying power. These are all the things that I want to talk about. But I think that'll become easier once we finish the summary. So then, could you give us a summary of the storyline in Skyrim?
Yeah, so Skyrim is the name of the northernmost country in Tamriel, which is the
continent.
The continent, yeah.
And so the country more or less, like that you end up mostly playing through is Skyrim, which is the name of the game.
So the main storyline in Skyrim starts when your character is brought in on a prison cart. And you are awaiting execution.
And this game is first person, so like you're seeing out from the eyes of your character in this situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you are put on a prison cart with a bunch of rebels who have been caught in the middle of a skirmish. And you're being carted off to this town called Helgen to be executed with all of them to end the Civil War.
Oh boy.
It's an intense cold open.
Yeah, not a fun way to start your day for sure.
Right in the nick of time before your character and a bunch of other key players can get executed, this dragon called Alduin swoops in and pretty much destroys the entire town. Luckily, your character manages to escape, either with one side or the other of the two Civil War factions. And then you are out into the vast expanse of Skyrim and can choose your adventure as you go. I think a lot of people when they're first starting out will choose to follow where the main quest line is leading you and will kind of pick up skills as they go. So once you escape Helgen, you are kind of led to go spread the word about the dragons and warn people. Dragons, prior to the events of Skyrim, were thought to be extinct.
Okay, and then made a fiery, explosive entry into not being extinct.
Oh, yes. Most dragons from that long past era were buried under the ground, but when Alduin comes back, he can bring them back to life.
And Alduin is the first dragon you met?
The first dragon you met and the first dragon ever.
Oh, so that first guy that you meet is super important.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. As you were. Sorry. So you go to then spread the word to everybody else that, like, dragons are back.
Basically warning this town that's kind of in the center of the country that, hey, a dragon has been seen in Helgen and is coming your way. Watch out. And so he sends you on a bunch of different fetch quests to get, like, a dragon map and find out where they're all buried. And then a dragon attacks outside of the town, and he sends you out there because you're the only one who has any experience with dragons in the whole town.
Oh, boy.
And so once you kill this dragon, something happens. You absorb its soul.
Oh. Is that like a purposeful choice you make, or is it like an oops, it's in me now?
It will happen, whether you want it to or not.
Okay. So it's a oopsie poopsie gonna happen impossibility to avoid. Okay. And what does that do to you?
So it gives you the ability to shout, which means you project your voice outwards to create some sort of effect.
Kind of like a magical call or something.
Yeah, something like that. The first one you get is Unrelenting Force. It literally just pushes things back.
Okay. And this, I assume this changes you fundamentally as a person.
There are certain things that you can do as the Dragonborn that you would not have been, like, able to before.
So then after you get the dragon soul, where does that story continue?
These sages upon the highest mountain in Skyrim call you up for training. And so you have to climb up 7,000 steps to go see them, and they send you on another fetch quest. Very common in games like these. Kind of a staple, honestly. And before you can get what you are sent to get from this ancient tomb, you find that it has been replaced with a note.
Oh.
And somebody else is saying, okay, it's over here, come get this thing. It's
this
kind of like
artifact that
Princess
you need.
Peach is in another castle kind of thing.
Yeah.
And from there's this secret society called the Blades that used to be like bodyguards of the former emperor. But their organization had been disbanded because of the Great War, which was a massive political conflict.
That like way long ago.
Prior to Skyrim, but is
yeah.
still in living memory. Like the Empire basically used to encompass all of the countries in Tamriel.
Okay, so this whole continent.
Save for the Somerset Isles, which is where the Thalmor are from, basically. Like the High Elves.
Yeah.
And during the Great War, the Thalmor attacked the Empire. And it caused a lot of schisms within. Different places started either rebelling or, sticking closer to the Thalmor. It was just this very sticky conflict that you can still see creeping into pretty much.
Like a lot of interactions, kind of all the politics everywhere.
So they're sending you on more quests. And you eventually go to the Thalmor Embassy, which is kind of on one side of the Civil War's faction. It's kind of a tenuous alliance between the Thalmor and the Imperials on one side, and then the other side is the Stormcloaks.
Okay. And the Stormcloaks is, I'm assuming, who you were with at the beginning. So if you were the rebel forces, it sounds like the Stormcloaks are the rebels against the Imperials and the Thelmor group.
Yeah.
But anyway, you, the Dragonborn, then end up at the Thelmor embassy after you have been trying to spread the word about dragons, then sent to train, and on your training kind of intercepted by this other shadowy organization that has led you to the Thelmors.
Yes, because they are convinced that the Thalmor are the ones who brought back the dragons. And then the Thalmor are convinced that the Blades are the ones who brought back the dragons.
Oh.
And nobody is correct.
Okay. And they want you to solve this because you're the dragon soul. So they're like, you have to decide who brought back... Well, not decide, but I guess you have to help us stop them bringing back dragons.
Because critically, the Dragonborn is the only person who can permanently kill a dragon by absorbing its soul.
Oh, so if you, the main character, don't kill a dragon, say somebody else does it, it's just going to like wake up and come back later?
It has the potential to, yes.
Okay. So all these dragons are reanimated. They were all dead. And now they're back. So nobody was wrong when they were like, the dragons are gone. The dragons were gone. The dragons are back. And now everyone's trying to figure out why they're back. How do you solve this? Like, assuming you follow the main quest line all the way through and you hit all those checkpoints, how do you solve this problem then?
So we eventually learn that Alduin, way back when, wasn't killed. He was sent forward in time.
Okay.
And now that he has reemerged, he has brought all these dragons back. Mm-hmm. And it is the Dragonborn's destiny to slay Alduin. Mm-hmm. So you have to go to his lair, basically, in a high-up mountain. And as the legend goes, Alduin visits the afterlife to devour the souls of the dead.
Oh, okay. So he's kind of a mythic figure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like the first ever dragon is like the ender of the world. Mm-hmm. And if you don't stop him, the world will just end.
Yeah, like a big evil
he will
figure.
Consume it. Yeah.
Okay.
So your character has to go to this afterlife.
Okay. Go on, sorry.
Literally not
laugh. I didn't mean to laugh. I'm so sorry. Go on. I was just like, well, it's a big ask. Go on. Yeah. So you have to go to the afterlife.
Critically, you don't die.
Okay. That is the goal.
Thankfully. Yes. But you go into this portal to the afterlife. You meet all of these legendary heroes of old, and together you join forces and finally slay Alduin. Mm-hmm. And then the world is safe from this tyranny, and you are brought back to the tallest mountain in the world, where all of the dragons are circling around and crying about the end of Alduin and the beginning of a new age.
Oh, okay. Wow. And then that's the end of that story.
Yes.
A few clarifying questions for myself. At that point, do all the other dragons die because Alduin is dead? Or could they theoretically continue living until they are killed?
They will continue living until they're killed. If we're talking about it in a strictly lore sense, all of the dragons, they don't continue to rise from the dead.
Yeah, they can't.
The ones
keep
who are already arisen will stay there. Mm-hmm. But for game mechanic purposes, more will continue to spawn in.
Okay. So if you were to continue playing the game, dragons will keep popping up. But theoretically, the story will dictate that, like, every dragon you kill is now dead forever. They can't keep coming back. Then in this world also, dragons are basically always evil.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
There are 2 dragons you can meet. One in the main game, being Parthurnax, was the only dragon that stood against Alduin in the days of old and trained people to use their voices to fight back.
Oh, so this is how that one organization is like, hey, we know about dragon magic. Come on up here and learn.
In previous games, the Emperor of Tamriel was a Dragonborn.
Oh, okay.
And the Blades were considered to be the protectors of the Dragonborn. However, this does mean that they consider dragons to be their enemies.
Okay.
So they are not thrilled that there is any dragon still in the world.
Okay, so it is a pretty epic story of, like, well, started from about to be executed up to, like, I have to go save the world, becoming the Dragonborn. So let me ask you, what makes this game so meaningful to you personally?
I guess it got me through a really stressful point in my life when everything else seemed to be like kind of going wrong. There was one thing I could always return to, and I could always have control over something.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also everything else that Skyrim and the other games in the series that came before it just spawned out into the world. I find it absolutely incredible that even though like Skyrim was so many years ago, people are still like making content about it, talking about it, and there's still a genuine community about it.
So part of the meaning for you is found in that community, because like I mentioned at the top, it does have like a really strong community that is built around it of people who, like you, keep coming back, keep replaying it, want to make modifications to the game, maybe do an annual replay. I've heard of people doing that. Like it's time for every year now, it's time for me to replay Skyrim, do it all over again. You're one of them?
I am absolutely one of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I keep looking at my Nintendo Switch being like, maybe it's time.
Maybe it's time. So then let's branch out from here and then also go into what do you think makes this a tale of our time? Or like another way to phrase that would be, why do you think that other people could or should find meaning in this storyline or in the stories that Skyrim presents as well?
I feel like the most important part of Skyrim and games like it is that even though you are compelled by fate and destiny, there are still choices to be made. Like, what kind of person do you want to be? What choices do you want to make? Even though there is a job to be done, you can still go in any direction.
Because regardless of like what play style you talked about, and we just spent some time talking about like the extensive different kinds of play styles, like should you wish to complete the game, you must complete the storyline that we just discussed. Is that correct?
Yes. If you want to basically reach the intended end of the game, you need to progress through the main storyline.
So to that end, then it's like you do have a destiny that if we were to look at this as like a compulsion or like a storyline or a whole world, like you do have a destiny that like you cannot ignore. You can put it off, you can do other things in the meantime, and you can change what kind of person you are at the beginning and the end, but you will have to fulfill that destiny at some point. But perhaps the charm or the meaning of the game happens in everything you do in the fulfilling of that. Like, who are you in that journey, and what do you do at the end of that?
Absolutely.
I think that's lovely because I love the idea of fate as like a stone thing. Like, you're not going to change it. You cannot change your fate, actually. It's always going to be that. But I like the poetry then that kind of like works in around that, of these ideas that you're talking about, of like, even though you may not be able to change what you will do, that doesn't mean that you won't have different impacts based on how you choose to approach that knowledge. Well, I'm glad to know more about this game because I did try to play it and I actually never made it through, even one playthrough. So I feel like I'm sitting across from my opposite. In a friendly way, of course.
I will say the first time I played Skyrim, I tried to make a character that I liked. And like I failed. And then I quit within an hour.
Yeah.
And then like 6 months later, I came back and like made a character that I liked. I was like, okay, I guess this is really fun.
You had to give it 2 shots.
I did.
Yeah. I should probably go back and give it another try. But I had a very similar experience where I was really dedicated to it. And I like put in, I don't know, like 5-7 hours. And I was like, I just can't do it. I don't get it. I don't know. I can't do it. But talking about it here, it does make me kind of want to partake in this like a big journey again. So maybe I'll have to give it another try. So we are almost out of time. But before we wrap up, I'd like to ask you if you could give Skyrim your own one-phrase subtitle, what would it be?
Skyrim, your choices are as important as your destiny.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's such a lovely sentiment that I don't often hear. It makes me feel better every time I do. I love that. So, Milo, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate so much this conversation that we've had. I hope you enjoyed it as well.
I very much did enjoy it. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, and to all of you listeners out there, this has been Tales of Our Time on Radio Taiwan International. I'm your guest. No, I'm not your guest. What? I'm your host, Amanda Stevens, with my guest, Milo Bowles. And we talked about Skyrim. Your choices are as important as your destiny. A tale of our time. We'll see you next time.